Quinn's Kidlines. Dear parents and teachers, this episode of Little News Ears has sensitive content. It is a show that focuses on news for kids related to the LGBTQ plus community. You might want to listen along with your child or student, or just check in with them afterwards. Thanks. Hi, I'm Quinn. And I'm here to give you what we call Kidlines at Little News Ears. That is, headlines for kids. Our first Kidline is... Liz Cheney says she was wrong to say same-sex marriage is wrong. First, who is Liz Cheney? She is the daughter of Dick Cheney, who was the vice president under George W. Bush. She is a U.S. representative in Wisconsin. Liz Cheney has a sister named Mary, who is gay. Even though her sister is in the LGBTQ plus community, Liz Cheney once said that when a man marries a man or when a woman marries a woman, that it's wrong. She has now changed her mind. She supports same-sex marriage, and she has since apologized to her sister. Our second Kidline is... The new Superman is bisexual. Jon Kent, the fictional son of Superman and Lois Lane, is bisexual. That was announced by DC Comics in October. Series writer Tom Taylor says that Superman's symbol has always stood for hope, truth, and justice, and still will as a bisexual character. A famous writer about the history of comic books, Glenn Weldon, says that Jon Kent identifying himself as bisexual is progress. Our third Kidline is... New Netflix comedy special causes staff to walk out. Dave Chappelle is a famous comedian. He had a new comedy special on Netflix in October, and he said some very mean things about people who identify themselves as transgender. This caused hundreds of people to protest Netflix for airing this show. Our fourth Kidline is... Switzerland legalized same-sex marriage. Over 64% of the population of Switzerland voted for men to be allowed to marry men and women to be allowed to marry women. It is now the 33rd country to do so. What took them so long? Switzerland is a conservative country. They are a bit slow to embrace change. As an example, women weren't allowed to vote until 1971. That's about 50 years after women could vote in the U.S. Now people have more rights to marry who they want to in Switzerland. Our fifth Kidline is... Dr. Rachel Levine becomes the nation's first transgender 4-star officer. We reported earlier this year that Rachel Levine made history when she became the first transgender Assistant Secretary of Health. Now, she is the first openly transgender officer who is also a 4-star admiral, the highest-ranking official of the U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps. And our question of the month is... Which country became the 33rd country to allow same-sex marriage? A. Switzerland, B. Swaziland, or C. Cameroon? And the answer is A. Switzerland. Thanks for listening to Quinn's Kidlines. There's lots more news for kids streaming at LittleNewsEars.com. We're also on YouTube and major podcasting platforms. May your sweetness shine and your colors glow. Sources for today's Kidlines include the New York Times. Yeehaw!